It seemed like just a day ago, this TechnoLarp situation was coming to a close. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, click the video up here to get a full rundown of it. But essentially, Technoblade's father, TechnoDad, put a stop to the TechnoLarping thing, finally said his piece. As a quick reminder, this comes from TechnoDad's Reddit post where he says, "I am asking for this to please stop and for the persona in question to cease. No blessing or permission for this or for any similar persona now or in the future has been given." And TechnoLarp had responded. We can see the profile picture changing here, saying TechnoDad's final answer to it all in summary was to stop the Technoblade persona. There will be a video out soon showing everyone what will happen to this channel. We all should respect his answer because I sure do and honestly am relieved. Now that video has come out. It has been met with a very positive reception. It's also been met with very negative reception. The general consensus is people that are happy that he is changing those things and continuing to make content because they want to see a Striker and what he is able to do as a creator, versus the other sentiment being that he should just be creating a separate channel and not riding off the back of the 200,000 so subs that he had built up using the image of Technoblade. I'm also going to highlight some of the points that he put out in this video as I thought that they were, interesting for one reason or the other. But of course, before we hop into this, if you could just take a sec to leave this video a thumbs up, perchance a hype after that, it really helps the video out. Additionally, if you're new here starting to see my videos show up in your feed, if you could hit subscribe. I know it doesn't matter a whole ton for you, but it does mean the world for me. But truly, regardless of if you do any of that, just thank you for watching. And so here is that new video, the end of TechnoLarp. Just came out about 9 hours ago here, and I just want to go ahead and start with playing the intro here.
It's finally happened. TechnoDad gave the response. As you can see, I'm in my normal skin with my normal name, and I'll explain why. TechnoDad's response, I'm sure you've all seen it. I'll put the Reddit post in the link in the description. It's to quit the Technoblade persona, which honestly, I'm really relieved that I even got an answer. I didn't really mind if it was yes or no. I respected any decision, right? So the answer was to stop the Technoblade persona or anything similar to it. Now, I can't really change how I sound, like my voice, because it's my normal voice, but I can definitely take off the skin. I can change the name. The name of this channel is TechnoLarp at the moment, but I don't know, maybe tomorrow I'm going to change it to Striker MC or something, and I want to explain everything about that.
Now, towards the end here, you heard him say that he was going to change the name and stuff, probably the day after, which looks like what he is in fact doing now. He mentioned that there's a bug on YouTube preventing the name change. I bring this up because towards the end of the video, he's like, maybe I'm going to keep the name until the end of the week so people can see the video and stuff. I think that's kind of semantic. I understand the reason why you would do that to clear the air. I don't necessarily think there's an issue with that. And also, good on him for, at the very least, being consistent about saying, as soon as I hear something from TechnoDad, I will take that and respect that decision. It still seems to kind of ignore the whole point of you're putting TechnoDad in a position that he really shouldn't be in, and it seemed pretty clear what his stance was, even without him directly saying it. Effectively, he has made him do. I think a lot of people see that as just kind of reaching into this. You're not willing, or you're being very oblivious to this other point of view, or just generally understanding the situation from the perspective of TechnoDad when you are LARPing, or as Moist Critical put it in his videos, wearing a skin suit of his deceased son with this content creation. But again, across the board, glad he is recognizing that and is putting a stop to the TechnoLarp. Now, immediately following after this, he jumps into the negative sentiment that he is using the following that he has created off of the Technoblade image on this TechnoLarp channel, and he's using that for his own personal gain. And here's what he had to say.
But with that being said, there's going to be hate on anything that I do at this point. And one of the things that's going to be brought up is I am taking the TechnoLarp viewers and turning it into my personal gain, which I believe that to be wrong. So I wanted to say that if you guys are only here for the Technoblade persona, like the Technoblade stuff, I highly advise that you unsubscribe. I mean, it's up to the viewer at the end of the day. I won't force you to unsubscribe. I won't say you need to keep watching the content. I don't really think that's up to me. I think that if you like who I am as a person and you like the future videos that are coming out, go ahead, you can watch them. There's going to be nothing related to Technoblade in them, really, other than how I sound. But again, I can't really change that, and my mannerisms are just similar naturally. But if you notice that like a video's coming out and you're not really watching it, then you are able to either not watch it or unsubscribe. I won't feel bad about anything that you do. I think that TechnoDad's decision and the viewer's decision matters a lot more than mine when it comes to the content.
He says he doesn't believe in the sentiment that he is taking the TechnoLarp viewers from the TechnoLarp channel and using them for his own personal gain. Now, for the most part, I'm providing both sides of the argument for pretty much everything that has been brought up so far, like in the previous video that I've done about this, but this point is just objectively untrue. And his defense of his point is incredibly shallow, and again kind of follows the sentiment of what Charlie has talked about in his previous videos, where it seems like he is going out of his way to ignore the elephant in the room, ignore the other side of this. He is using the following that he created from TechnoLarp for his own personal gain. He is taking the channel and rebranding it and doing Minecraft content. He got those people from doing TechnoLarp. This is directly what it would look like to use that TechnoLarp audience for your own personal gain. I'm not saying if that's right or wrong, or if he's a good or bad person for that, but to say that you don't believe that that's the case, and your example or the, I guess, defense that he gives to it is that you can just unsubscribe, is really shallow. He really isn't engaging with the point that's being made. He's just like, well, if you just like Technoblade, just unsubscribe or don't watch the videos. But as he also pointed out, he already has similar mannerisms. He already has a similar voice. And you can't really completely divorce that from the viewer base that you've created, which is solely focused on the fact that you do sound a lot like and do a lot of the mannerisms of Technoblade. You were LARPing as the guy. So he mentions that he can't really help that he sounds similar and has similar mannerisms, in the same breath that he's also saying that, you know, he doesn't believe that he's going to be personally gaining from developing this following that has a proclivity to enjoying those pieces of him. Could he have naturally developed an audience of Minecraft viewers that happen to notice that he sounds and behaves similar to Technoblade? Maybe, sure, but that isn't what the reality of this situation is. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about this specific point, because for me, it's the most irksome. It doesn't really make sense, and his argument to defend himself doesn't really do that at all, at least in my eyes. But continuing on with his video. Next point he makes is that he is not going to be monetizing any of the videos on the channel still. They will stay up because for the most part, they are already probably going to be archived by other people that have watched them. And as he puts it, he's not a big fan of like deleting the history of it. But on top of that, he thinks that it's not really possible at this point, but he will delete the videos if he is asked to do so by TechnoDad. So again, putting that onto TechnoDad to enforce. Following up after that, and I'm sorry, we're kind of going back to the point that I was just making and yapping about, but he talks about doing charity streams again in the future, even on, you know, his rebrand of what he's going to be doing, because he's worried that there are going to be people that are sticking around just because he sounds like Technoblade, which again, sounds like he directly, at least in some parts, understands that what he's doing is, you know, personal gain off the back of, you know, old Technoblade fans.
I still will be doing charity streams in the future because I feel like even though I'm telling people to unsubscribe if they don't like the new personality and all that, there's still going to be some lingering ones that are just here for the way I sound. And that's okay. But I feel like I should probably not get like 100% monetary gain from that. That doesn't seem right to me. Never has. I know I've been open about everything from the start. And those who've been here from the start and know all of that. They were here. You guys know everything. This video is not for the people who have never watched my channel before. This video is not for the people who have never seen Technoblade before. This video is not for the drama enthusiasts waiting to see what happens next. This video is for the people who genuinely care about what's going to happen next to the channel that they've been watching for a month. If there's a bunch of like moist critical fans in here wanting to know what I'm saying, yeah, sure, go right ahead. I have a feeling everyone knows that the video made by Charlie kind of blew things out of the water, but it was just his opinion. And I also respect that.
So again, jumping back to the start of that clip, I'm confused as to how he seems to understand the fact that a lot of people, or I guess he kind of downplays it, says that some people are just going to be sticking around because he sounds so similar to Technoblade and acts like him. He understands that and feels guilty about all of the money going, directly to himself, which is why he wants to do the charity streams. If that's how he feels about it, how does he also at the same time not believe that he is, completely taking this TechnoLarp fan base and gaining from it personally? He has to be conscious of the fact that he's gaining from it to, have the guilty conscience of wanting to do the charity streams for the reason that he listed out. Those 2 points contradict themselves within this video. And then he goes on to do what is pretty common, where he groups up the people that dislike him as Twitter people, or specifically also people that watch Moist Critical, and he diminishes them. He actually even does it later on as like, those people that dislike me don't even watch the videos, which, to be fair, he's not wrong about that. And at the very least, to give him credit, he is consistent about the fact that he very much so disagrees with Moist Critical's point of view on the matter. He also kind of tries to posture the people that don't like it as people that would not be interested in seeing what the future of this channel holds and what he's going to do with it, but I would very much so disagree with that. A very popular Minecraft YouTuber who I watched a lot growing up, and Venom, also had left a comment under this video that I want to read off here. He writes, "I could imagine 1,000 different ways in which this whole situation could have turned out worse had you been less willing to be respectful about it. I don't necessarily fault you for having tried this, but I do understand people who are critical for you having tried this in the first place. The moral dilemma surrounding how Technodad felt, legitimate questions surrounding the whole donating revenue to charity, and how it felt like that issue is being kind of dodged, etc. When that was being discussed the other day, I thought this was about to spin in a bad direction. I'm thankful that it didn't." He goes on to kind of percolate about how this situation's gone and, finding the silver lining in it, so to speak. And he says, "I'm thankful that we all got to share in our love and appreciation of Technoblade again," and closes it out. I think Venom had some really good points there, just to say that there is a legitimacy to the criticism, or at least he views that as, legitimate criticism to what was going on, how things were being handled. But at the same time saying, hey, just good on you for respecting Technodad's wishes. But now continuing on with his video. We're on our last 2 points here that I wanted to showcase. The first is that he talks about that there is a bit of a backlog in terms of content as TechnoLarp that he may be putting out later on, but he said he's not going to monetize them. Here is that clip.
There was some more videos I have recorded as TechnoLarp and not yet edited, and some I had planned with other creators that probably won't be coming out now, but maybe in the future sometime I'll release them in like some file or something. Someone could go watch them somewhere if I ever feel like just throwing them out there for no reason. But I know you guys probably want to still see them. So as I said, maybe in the future, at some point, they'll be somewhere for you to view without monetary gain and without even like publicity view game. I don't know if I'd probably put them as unlisted and just put like the link somewhere if somebody wanted to see them. I don't know. None of that's confirmed. That's just me thinking about things, right?
So in some regard, good that if he was going to do it, isn't going to be monetized, anything like that. At the same time, the wishes were for the persona to cease and to not continue doing that, and that came from Technodad. So again, there's that conflict of Technodad's wishes are for you to cease in doing this. So to respect those wishes would to not be posting those, but he's going, well, I know you guys would want to see that kind of stuff, which is probably true. There's a lot of people that would want to see TechnoLarp stuff, like they already clearly have been, which is why his channel blew up so much, but that's not what Technodad is asking for. And Striker here, TechnoLarp, has made it clear that he's trying to listen to Technodad. So again, actions/ideas here aren't necessarily lining up with, respecting Technodad's wishes, or at least people seem to see it that way. Again, specifically curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this point as well. Last point, he again kind of goes over and addresses why he isn't deleting the channel and doing that. And his reasoning is because people in his comment section are telling him not to do that.
Some people might be asking, why don't you just delete the channel and make a new one, or just continue on the other one? I'll give you multiple reasons that I think are pretty obvious, but some people might miss. obviously I've built a big following of people watching me play Minecraft, which is why I'm telling everyone, if it was only for the Technoblade thing, you might not care for what I'm doing next. 2 is I don't want to switch to Minecraft on my other channel just because it wouldn't work out well. That's clearly for a different type of content. And 3, the majority of people, I read comments. I read a lot of comments. The majority of people want to see me for who I am on this channel. I've seen countless comments just being like, okay, change your name, change your profile picture, be yourself, whatever. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing what the majority of the people are saying to do. Even if there's a few guys that are like, oh, this is evil, this is evil. They're not the people watching the videos, are they? And I wasn't told to delete the channel. I was told to stop the TechnoBlade persona. And that's what I'm doing.
Again, this is a bit weird. The third point is the biggest one, talking about what the comments are. But the first one, he built this following because people are watching him play Minecraft. Yes, but more than that, you developed this huge following pretending and LARPing as a much bigger Minecraft YouTuber, TechnoBlade, who is loved and enjoyed by a lot of people. I guess I can kind of see his point that people were ultimately watching him as he didn't have the exact same play style as TechnoBlade because he's not as good as TechnoBlade was. But then his second point that he makes is he's not moving it over to his own personal channel because he makes horror content on that. It's got a couple thousand subs. Sure, I understand that. You got to make channels like you make TV channels. You can't mix those two in that type of way unless you were like a variety content creator, that kind of thing. But then lastly, he talks about how most people that have left comments on his videos are people saying that he should just rebrand. So he's going to do what the majority wants, except again, if TechnoDad says no and makes the decision, he's happy to remove it then because that's the ultimate power that he is enacted here, is that TechnoDad has that final say. Now, I had this whole thing where I jumped into making a poor analogy to survivorship bias and how that's impacting the comment section that he sees on a video that would impact how he's able to, engage with the reactions and perception that he has from his audience. TLDR, the people that generally have a positive reception to his content are more likely to comment than people who really don't like the content. If you don't enjoy content, especially if you're like watching it in your luxury time, you just don't watch it. More than that, unless it makes you feel a special type of upset watching the content, you're less likely to engage with it or comment at all because to you, it's just wasting your time. It comes off as a shallow defense to say that I'm just going to follow what the majority is telling me to do, as opposed to contending with some of the points that have been brought up that he seems to recognize, like what we talked about earlier, using this channel for his own personal gain, using the audience that he has built up off of TechnoLarp for his own gain. He has a guilty conscience of it. That's why he said he's going to be doing charity streams, but he also at the same time says he doesn't believe that he is gaining off of this. I think if he actually was willing to engage with these other points, that he would be acting a bit differently or making different decisions, but that could just be me. It could just be my bias. I agree more so with Moist Critical and the points that he's made about this, more than I agree with the rebuttals or points that Stryker has made in regards to his TechnoLarp stuff. But that brings this video to a close. I hope it's not longer than his video himself that he put out, but I ended up yapping for quite a bit of time. If you enjoyed this video, again, want to put out in front of more people, leave it a like, perchance a hype afterwards if you got one for the week. Also, a subscribe would help me out a ton. If you stuck around this long, it's just a button tap. I would greatly appreciate it. Hell, you can even turn off the notifications. But that's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys later. Adios. Peace. Bye.